I don't want to sound like the weather network, but I have to monitor what's going on. We may be lucky because it's not very windy. If anyone read my comments, we're getting a bit of a thunderstorm because I think Canada wants to retain its place, the place with the most fresh water on the planet. So we're replenishing our reserves. How is everyone today? Just a disclaimer: if for any reason the signal goes down, I have around 10 minutes of battery backup power. If I can manage to get things going within that time frame, we will continue. I'm hearing the UPS clicking now because there was some there was a bit of lightning. We've got plenty of those. So in the worst case scenario, I'm going to shut down the stream if I can't recover it. And yeah, I'm thinking of changing some of the format. I was thinking of maybe making some Master Trainer tutorial things, especially in cases like these or when under other circumstances where we can actually have something to show if we can't do a live show. I'll think about it. In any case, welcome everyone. I hope you're doing well. If you do have any questions, first of all, I hope you can hear me. So if someone can post if I'm audible or not, that will be fantastic. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, please post capitalized questions so I can tell them. Love to see how to use Win. Well, uh, you don't currently. Excellent. And you can hear me. Thank you. Excellent. Loud and clear. That is great. So let's get on with it. So please use the capitalized question if you have a question, and I'll be monitoring the chats here and in other places. And yeah, I'm gonna put my screen back on, and I'm gonna make myself very small, or even remove myself at some point. So I'm going to go through a few of the questions posted by some of our viewers, and you may be able to hear some thunder outside. Give some perspective as to the real time of this. Okay, let's start with this. Right. So I'm going to grant the first question with capitalized question from Arun. Is there a way to render a spline using a Redshift Toon material, specifically the contour? I do not know. That's a very good question. So I don't know. I shouldn't do these things, but we're going to try it out anyway. So a spline. Here's a spline. And let's go here and add. Let's go. And first of all, let's add this over here and turn on my IPR. Let's right click and add my render redshift object. Make sure curve is, let's say, hair strand. So we pick up the spline and we can render it. Fantastic. Let's add some thickness and let's find out. So contour, the contour, and let's get Toon. I wish everything would come up with the Toon. But anyway, let's try this. I'm not very good when it comes to the Toon stuff, and I just want to make sure that I have something in the background to make sure I can distinguish the line. So the easiest way to just add a dome light, make it some sort of darkish color, so we can do that. Make sure in the details I exclude it from everything except for the camera. So that's how I make background. So you select all this and all the way here, and you press Control and you zero this, and it will zero everything. And now I need a light. So let me just go and add an HDR. So I'm going to go HDR. And let's grab something. Which one do I prefer? I want this one here. There we go. And I do not want this to be visible, so get rid of the camera view. There we go. So we get the lighting from this and the background from this, and I can see the backgrounds. Now, what's happening here? Contour. So where are we? Toon material, and we have the rim. I assume But in any case, let's go and put this in the tone map and see what happens here. And let's see, what's this? No, that appears, well, this is a flat thing. The hair strands are flat things. Cylinders or capsules, these should be treated more like objects. Let's see if there are any. I'm just going to mark this while we're speaking here. And let me see if I understand the question. Using relative to especially the contour. So we want, let me put this here. That's not a valid material. I'm telling you, I'm not perfectly in tune with the Toon mapping. Maybe I should do that. And maybe the rim. Let's see. Do we need the rims? And are we getting something there? And let's tone map this. I think you put a ramp here. And let's take a look at this and see what happens. Yeah, I'm probably doing everything wrong. And now the Redshift masters are screaming. Now, okay, I couldn't make this work because I don't know what I'm doing. And this is an interesting one to investigate. Let's see what the comments are. Oh, that's another question. Sorry. And what the expectation would be. So I would like to ask, you want to use a spline as a contour? Is that what you're trying to do? Because usually the contours are the outside parts of an object. Let's see if we have any Toon presets here. We have any Toon presets. Maybe I'm going to go here and type Toon. Have no tunes, sketch or something. No, we don't have any Toon over here. At least they're not classified as such. Yeah, interesting. I would like to find something with Toon. I'm probably search. Oh, thunder. Probably searching for the wrong term. So what I'm going to do here, and this is me scrambling, right? You can all tell that is the case. So I'm going to. So I've got. Let me put my toe map here. So I should see the sphere, and I need to just move my light. And to make things, my mistake here is that I'm actually using a light that has a lot of diffuse. You can see better what's going on when you have when your lighting is a bit more harsh. I would assume that is the case. So what do I have here? I want to go to the tone map and load. I'm going to load this. Okay. And what am I doing wrong here? I thought the tone map would do that. Yes, I'm totally fudging it here. I'm not going to take up more of your time. I'm doing something terribly wrong, and I do not know what the terribly wrong thing I'm doing is. Well, yeah, okay. There you go. So it has to be concentrated here. Okay. So at least I'm getting the Toon material to work while I'm scrambling, that is. And I'm getting this as a tone map. And now contours. Let me go here, not reflection. And I think it's the rim, if I'm not mistaken. Well, it's not. So I'm definitely doing something I shouldn't be doing. I'm going to reserve this. I'm going to ask some specialists and come back to me, or I'm going to post maybe a quick tip if it's possible, because maybe it's not possible. Maybe the expectation is not possible. So between my ignorance on the subject and maybe I didn't understand the question properly, I'm going to pass on with this. So apologies there. Okay. Let me see this. How do we use? How do we use object? This is how I read this in my mind. when it's capitals. How do I use object origin as a texture coordinate? I believe state node used to provide this. I do not know what it used to provide. Oh, there you go. This is the polite version. Okay. Yeah, I'm reading Pedro's things about the lava. We may touch upon that slightly, although we won't get a full solution. The object origin as a coordinate, as a texture coordinate, state node used to provide this. Now, I know there could be a workaround for this. For example, you can use Espresso to link the position of a projection. So this kind of question would be ideal if you can provide some sort of scene, because in this particular situation, let's imagine I have this object and I want to project something. So let me go here and get a media, an image, and let's find some sort of image in here, a number, this one. If you drag it here, it will create a material with that as a texture. So what I assume you may want to do here is you're trying to project this based on some sort of general coordinate, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't understand the reason. So you can, of course, you can take this and you can do a flat projection. Of course, if you render it, you will see it here. And you can scale down using this tool, the texture. So what you can do is go to the coordinates here and link that using Espresso to the object origin. So that will be a simple way to do it. If you have something else in your mind, like why would you want to do that? Yeah, in material nodes, so the state doesn't have that as far as I know. Yeah, I don't know if it with a reference object. Yeah, what are you trying to achieve would be some sort of way to move forwards. And I'm sorry that when it comes to certain technical things, specific details of how everything works with Redshift, I'm not up to the same level as the rest of Cinema 4D, but I will try. So if you can post what your expectation is, what you're trying to do, please let me know. I'm going to leave this file open and move on to another one. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. So this is about color management. I have problems with colors in Cinema 4D when I use the eyedropper and pull a color out of my image from my Redshift material. It somehow picks different color that's in the original image. This has to do with your color management. Yeah, I would like to see what your expectation is, because the eyedropper, that's an interesting one. Let's see how we can pick. Let's make a new document here. Let's try this and see what happens. So let's create a material. So currently, by default, in the scene settings, color management, by definition, is set to aces. Now, check when you install Cinema 4D, check and see what your color management is. Maybe yours is set to something different. So maybe it's set to linear, scene linear, or something like that. For mine, it's set to aces. So let's go and load an image. So you can we can use a texture. Let's go and load a texture. And actually, I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier. Drag some sort of image. Now, but when it comes to specific colors, this is a normal map, and I know that the values here are 128, 128, 255, that purplish color. So you want to pick a color from this. One thing about the color picker is that you can set, there's a mode, this one here with the little triangles, okay? If you click on this, you can load an image in here. And this will allow you to pick stuff. So let me copy this from this material and go here and paste it. And hopefully it's going to load. Oh, thank you very much for not loading. So let me drag it directly in. Why? Yeah. Whoop, color. No, I do not want that. Yeah. I don't know what to say. I would expect this to load in the color chip. I do not want this. I want to load in the color chip. I want to go here and load it here. And apparently I cannot. Okay, let me see if I can load another image there. Give me a second, please. Let's just go and type JPEG or something like that. Now, do not forget that both images are set in sRGB space. So I just want to find a random image. Let's get this, the leaf. So I have a leaf here. Now, I do not know what the actual color is for this. This is an sRGB image, and it appears to me that when I select from it, it works. If you have misaligned colors, you will get a different color. So make sure that the type you're picking here is the same as the image you're loading. So I don't know where that discrepancy comes from, but you can see that in this particular case, the color that I'm picking is the correct one. So yeah, it's probably something that has to do with your color settings. Sorry, I can't, show more, but I think you can go and check out. I don't know what happens when you select something from outside. If you go to, let's say, Photoshop or something like that. But in any case, somewhere around this workflow, you will potentially find some sort of solution for the problem. Okay. All right, we're getting help here. Thank you, Rune. There is a contour input on the output of the material, but I can't get it to work. Oh yeah, the contour is in the output of the material. So let me show you what I was forgetting. So go here. There's a contour here. Okay, this little contour on the output of the material. Thank you very much. Let's put this here and see what happens. I always like to do things. Ooh, so all right. So we're getting the contour, and it's treating. Let's get the contour here, and I can even delete this. We're going to make it white. Let me see what I want to do here. I want to see it clearly. So let me add a color. So I want to compose a color, get this and put it in the surface. And come on, really? You're going to do this to me now? Really embarrass me in front of my friends? Okay, well, and let's put this over here, color. There we go. It's too dark. Anyway, I'll leave it like this. So the contour here, you can see that both for the object and for the spline, we can actually see that contour. Let's see if it gets thicker. And where's my, there we go. So there's my thickness. So it works as far, and let's go and check this now. Is it because of the capsule, the hair strands? So it works in most situations, but it treats this as an object. What I assume our good friend Rune wants is to treat this as a single contour, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yep. And here, you can see I'm playing with the thickness of this. And that will be 1, because it's very thin now. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can do that and not treat it like an object. That is, strips. All right. It doesn't do the whole thing. Oh, yeah, because it's facing us. And it's a double strip. So look at this. This is fascinating to watch, but it converts the Redshift object tag converts the spline into some sort of tangible object internally during render time, and then treats that as geometry. So I doubt if it can treat it as a single line. Yeah. Yeah. So it appears, and just to let you know what Monsieur Rune saying, I would like to be a single thickness. Yeah. So yeah, I don't see that possible using this way. Okay. You can use other ways because you can change the scale of it. Now, this is so see this poses some interesting things. I can treat the hair strands and add different thicknesses to them, but that will modify the particular thickness of the spline. Now, mind you, let's go and add uniform subdivisions and quite a few of them here and see what happens in this case. Yeah, so it's just trying to do the thicknesses. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's a way implemented to do this, but this is an interesting exercise, I have to say. Well, if you have any success, let us know. Okay, let's see, where were we? Where were we? I want to find the next question. Way to understand that was what we did. Okay, and we were just dealing with the colors. And now, Andrew, yes, the color. Okay, this could be an interesting one. So with the new fluid simulation tools, how can you control the amount of air bubbles inside a liquid? Okay, so air bubbles is something that people are asking. And let me quickly show you. It's fairly trivial to create air bubbles. When I say trivial, yeah, it's not something extremely hard to do. You do it by creating a secondary particle emitter. Now, I have some setups, but I'm going to set this up from scratch. I just have my particle layout. I've got this palette here. And let's create we can do it with a liquid fill emitter, or we could do it with a basic emitter. I'm going to do it with the liquid fill emitter because it's a bit more obvious what's going on, not for any other reason. The same principle applies. So just create an object, and let's go and fill it with water. Let's hide this. And let's extend this to 600. And I'm going to go and make my gravity a bit less because I'm going to move this around using forces because I don't want it to leave the scene. So you can see that we're going to get some particles here. It needs to think about it. There you go. So here are my particles, and you can see them sort of condensing. Good. Now let's add some motion to this just to show what that something is going on. And the easiest way is to create some sort of turbulence field. Get some scale up. Now, for anything that has mass, which will be cloth or particles, liquids, the acceleration and the force will give you different results. For things that don't have mass, for example, just dumb particles, it doesn't make a difference. And acceleration is the best way. With force, the lighter your object, the more it's going to move. So I'm going to leave it at acceleration because that way we can have a bit more control, but you need a bit higher values. There you go. So we have these particles just moving in various directions. And what we want them to do is sort of take the bubbles with them. So in order to generate the bubbles, I'm going to go and create a secondary particle emission inside this. That's a bit more sparse. I can use the same object here, or I can use a smaller object. It doesn't really make a difference, and I do not care. So I'm going to select this and go and create a liquid fill emitter, which I'm going to call bubbles. And this is the bubbles group. The bubbles group. So here I'm going to we have the emission, but what's happening here is we are emitting based on the simulation scene distance and the radius of the particle. So I'm going to retain the simulation, the radius of the particle. I'm just going to leave it at 3 centimeters. But in terms of the resolution, I want them to have a larger distance because I want to scatter a few of them in here. So I'm going to grow this to, let's say, 24. Now, just to make sure, I'm going to go to these, make them bigger, 3, and make them red, just for the viewport purposes. And if I advance, now you'll see that we have the secondary bunch of particles that are still liquid, and they live inside the other one. Okay, And now you will see that these are, because they're liquid and they have the same constraints, they just move with the rest of the liquid. And you can just attach clones to these, and there are your bubbles. That's as easy as it gets. That's all you need to do. Just make sure that you emit fewer particles, or whatever number of particles, right? I can go to the middle of this, and instead of this sphere, I can make a copy of this, make it bubbles, make it small. So I'm going to make this very small. I want the bubbles just to be in the middle for whatever reason. Bubbles, hide this, boop, boop. And now you're going to see that we're going to get some bubbles, so to speak. Oh, I don't have much space. It only created, I have too much space. It only created one. I can go make this a bit larger. Yeah, because there was not enough space for it to generate a lot of bubbles. And there you go. These are going to sort of try and follow the rest of the liquid. There are always chances that they're going to fall outside. We can play around with the constraints to make sure we keep them in, and all that nice stuff. But in any case, these now can be interpreted as bubbles. And that would be it. Oh, do I have a... Oh, I thought I had a delivery, and it was my wife. It's raining outside, so they have to go somewhere with my son. And yeah, she came back to pick up something. Good. No strangers tried to enter the house. Now, because we need some shots for the thumbnail, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give a very good friend, Dr. Sassy, an opportunity to take a snapshot. So I'm going to give you a big cheese. Cheese. There we go. And there we go. I wish I could take a selfie with all you that join us. Imagine an imaginary selfie where everyone can be included. So let's continue here. Let me see about the questions. So those are the bubbles. Big beans. Good. Sorab. Hey, what's up? Hope you're well. Drake, my friend. Always a pleasure to see you. Okay. What do we have here? Now, let's go to the lava. Now, before I go to the lava, I owe it to reply to some of the questions I have from the spreadsheet we get from the form. So let's go down here and see. Ooh, people are posting. Okay. Let's see. Let's see 1 second. Let's go to this one. So that's a lava from Pedro Baños from Spain. Hola. We're going to deal with that. I'm actually going to start with that. So perfect opportunity. Now, modify the properties of viscosity, surface tension, stickiness, particle, depending on its age. The answer is yes. You should use a data mapper for that kind of stuff. Let's try and do it. Let's see what the okay. Let's just keep another one open. There we go. So let's try something here. I'm going to get a disk. I'm going to make it large, and I'm going to set it to become a collider, and I'm going to hide it because I don't want to see it. Good. And we're going to do a basic liquid flow, and we're going to change the parameters of the liquid flow as we go. So we're going to make it thicker and thinner and use noises and do that. And hopefully it's going to work. Now, the first thing is, if we want to go for high viscosities, the number one thing you need to do is go to your scene settings, go to liquids, and increase the viscosity iterations and the surface tension iterations. And the reason is, there's a general rule I've developed. I don't even know if this is, if it's a valid thing to do based on, developers haven't told me this, but it appears that if you want to find the ideal values for the viscosity iterations, surface tension iterations, and the reason you do that, let me take a step back. I need to show my face because I'm going to be very genuine here. So our simulation, our unified simulation, is predominantly based on a constraint system. And the accuracy of the evaluation of those constraints is what defines a simulation looking, accurate, physically accurate or not. The downside is that changing the iterations changes the whole simulation. The typical example, which anyone that has played around with cloth, is that the higher the iteration, the substep count. So if you go to your simulation and you look at the substeps, the more substeps you have, the stiffer your object becomes, your cloth. And that sounds counterintuitive, but that's how it works. The more you increase these iterations and the smoothing iterations, the more you increase the stiffness of the object. So a nice silk cloth that flows nicely with 20 substeps, if you set this to 80 substeps, it's going to become a bit more like cardboard. But it's because the calculations are more accurate. Now, here with the viscosity iterations and surface tension iterations, the same thing applies. So by definition, what I'm going to do now is, because I have a normal flow, I'm going to add a liquefy. And the liquefy usually, if nothing changes, only executes once when the particles are not liquid, and then they become liquid. I made the mistake in the very beginning of adding a condition for age when the age was, 1 frame, liquefy them, otherwise don't. But I was told that this is very much optimized. It will only liquefy them if they are not liquid. Now, let's take a look at this sort of flow. So particles are flowing, and I'm going to go and increase my particle flow here. A couple of zeros. There we go. We'll deal with everything else. So this is not a very viscous fluid, okay? It's a runny. Let's say it's water, oil, or something in that respect. I'm not going to touch the value of the liquefy. So nothing, viscosity, surface tension is the same, okay? I'm going to go over here and set this to 80 and 80. You can go to higher values. It doesn't affect the performance that much. A bit, yeah. Now watch this. I didn't change the value, but now the liquid itself is very much more viscous and has more surface tension. So this is honey, and we didn't touch these. And this is what we need to, plan for. In any scene that has mixed types of fluids, you need to find the maximum necessary viscosity iterations and surface tension iterations, and you will do that by experimenting for the most viscous of your liquids. That's what you need to do. And you will not touch, this is my advice, do not touch these before you find those 2 numbers here. Once you find those numbers, then, and again, it depends on how many different types of liquids you want, and you must start with the most viscous of your liquids. Once you've established that this is the highest, give or take a bit, viscosity I'm going to have in my scene, then you can go and say, all right, I want this to be a bit more viscosity. So 0.2. And now it's going to be more viscous. And again, extend the ease in, ease out if you want to avoid some of the explosions. This will give 10 frames for each particle to start moving before it becomes a liquid. It's for each particle, it animates from no contribution to 100% contribution in 10 frames or something like that. It's the same as the balloon, where you give it some frames to inflate, and it doesn't happen in 1 frame, because then the forces, the constraints are applied immediately, and it creates those explosions. So there we go. So this is the number 1, the initial flow. Now, when it comes to things like lava and so forth, I would assume that you have to make some assumptions about these things. So my assumption here is that, well, the hotter the lava, the less viscous it is. All right. So one of the ways is to combine a data mapper with a color mapper, so you can observe what's going on, and it helps with feedback. So let's try this. Right? Don't try this at home. Never try experiments at home. And for me, it's I have to try the experiment. So let's make these runny, and then they're their viscosity is going to change over time. And we can do it with the noise. We can do it with age. So I have no problem with the age parameter. So let's go and use a data mapper. I can put it as a child or something like that. It doesn't really matter. This is the only group we're going to work with. But I like to do it this way. And what do we want to do? We want to take the age from 0 to 1 second. Let's put it at 2 seconds just to see what's going on. And actually, I'm going to go from 30 to 90. Right. So they have going to have a certain a certain viscosity, and then they're going to change. And the property out is custom. It's viscosity. And the current viscosity I want it to reach. Now, before I do anything, let's find out the limits. What is the smallest viscosity we need, and what is the highest viscosity we need? So as far as the when it's runny, let's go with 0.05, just a number, a random number, and so this should be fairly runny, good, but yet it's not like water. And then I want it to go up to, so this is my first number, 0.05. Go here and say, okay, my lowest viscosity is 0.05. And that's when the age, when my particles are young and fresh and adventurous and beautiful. So then let me try the large viscosity. Let's go 0.5. I think this is going to be quite a bit more viscous, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, this is flowing slowly, maybe 0.85. Okay, it's getting nice and pretty stiff and all that. So now 0.85, let me go here and copy this value. And let's go here and paste it in here. So what I'm telling this setup is the viscosity is going to go from 0.05 to 0.85 from the age of 30 to 90. Okay, and this is kind of straightforward. I'm not doing any other adding any other data to this. Now, at the same time, what I'm going to do just to monitor this, right? And this is something you could do if you want. I'm going to get a color mapper. And the color mapper, I'm going to read. So the source is a property. The property is custom. I'm going to read this viscosity to make sure that this is happening correctly. And we're going to get the same values, 0.05, 0.05. So I'm going to read the values of my particle viscosity. I want to see if this is happening and to what extent it's happening. And I'm going to save this with, it's in that folder, and it's going to be called Lava 01A. Okay, so Lava 01A. And now, let's see what happens here. I've turned this off. See, it's blue because the viscosity is this viscosity, the 0.85. That was correct. Turn on the data mapper so they begin their lives, and they should start changing. I think I gave them too many frames, but you will see these ones starting to turn black. So let's go to the data mapper. Let's set from 30 to 45, and just make sure that here I don't need to change this because this reads the values. So what we're having here now is that the viscosity is, in theory, going to change, and they should slow down. As you can see, they're slowing down. That's why the other thing is building up. And how you're going to create the general flow of lava, how you're going to control it, that's now a different story. But the objective of getting the particles to change their viscosity based on their age, you can see it demonstrated right here. So this would be the method. Then you need to add your various noises. You can take the existing value here and you can mix it with some sort of noise fields or something like that. You can take, if you go to fields, I think you can take the age. So in the fields, let's see if we can take the age here. can take the value source is the age. Do I need to remap it? I'm mixing things up. I'm confusing myself now. This is something I need to do with quite a bit of research. So let's go back to this simplified solution. This is your setup. This is the feedback, and you can use this later on to colorize things, but it's your feedback. And this is what sets your viscosity based on the age. And you can always change these values either by, further changing. So what can we do here? Let me quickly do something. I'm going to go and go to the easy ease. So you can change the values here and add some in between things. Now, this is not going to be perfect by any means, but it is going to add some sort of gradation. It's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. Come on. There you go. It may not be that obvious in its current state. So 0 to 15. There you go. You can see the gradation. And yeah, I can change the age a bit. Oh, there you go. We can do it with the age. So let me undo. See, the thoughts are coming to me. There we go. So what we can do is play with the age. So I can, because the data mapper is based on the age, I can actually play around with the age. And let me see, this is going to work. Oh, I'm going to mess things up. Target property is age. I want to drive it using a field. And multiplier, I'm going to make it 30 because in here I want to put a random field and give it some animation. I don't even know what this is going to do, but hey, forgive me. Whoops. What just happened here? That is interesting. What just happened here? You get rid of this and this. Let's do this again. Okay, that is going down. That was very interesting. Sorry about that. Mystery. So let's go here to the math. Let's rewind, press play. Can I not touch? Whoa. Yeah, of course, because I was, okay. Target property is age. There we go. So they're going to stay at age 0. Good. Fields, assign, multiply 30. So that's the age. Random, animate. If this doesn't work, that is interesting. This is not what I signed up for. So there's something about the age with the liquids. All right, so that's not going to work. So forget about it for now. Take this as your solution for now. And for the mysteries and gremlins, I'm going to deal with it at a later time. So from 3245, and you will see them becoming blue now. So this works. Rewind, press save, and so forth. Zen. Manners. I need to do that, yeah. Zen. Manners. Okay. Yeah. That will be an interesting thing to do, though, a full setup for lava. I think one of our beta testers did something like that. Maybe we can get some of those, or maybe we can have some assets soon. Anyway, let's see. What is the topic? What are you referring to, Siminu? Is it the lava? Anyway, let's see. What else can we do? So, Midlet, long question. Long question. When using Pyro, the big blob of fire at the emission source can look a bit fake. I've seen the Pyro templates. The density was used as a mask. Is there any other way to do this? I do not know. If for anyone that's on Twitter, X, whatever you like to call it, DM me, follow me, of course, and all that vanity stuff. Yeah, or if you go through the form, I may contact you for a file, or you can share a file and all that nice stuff. Anyway, let's go back to the comments. Let's see, where were we? Let's see. Sec. This is a question. I think the answer is no. Is there a way to randomize the order of textures in a multi-shader applied to an object in a cloner? I think of filling multi-shaders in a video rental store without creating hundreds of textures. Randomizing the order of textures, you could potentially do that. But you're talking the multi-shader in the old Espresso node? You can change the randomization in the MoGraph, and that is going to work. So if you have a matrix, for example, I'm going to randomize the color. So you can go and say MoGraph vectors random effector. Let's go here and turn this off and turn on color. So this is now the random color. And make sure when you're randomizing colors to set the minimum to 0 so you don't get values under that. And you can use, or you just change the seed and it's a different randomization. So if you're picking textures based on the random value of each of your clones, by changing this value, you change which texture it's going to pick. That will be the easy solution. And that's all you have to do. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. What else do we have? Sharon. Hello. Oh, I didn't show my photo. Hello, Sharon. Okay. Let's see. What else? Oh, yeah. Don't forget. So, arc spline, seeing how lumpy and imperfect it is. Break spline, pulse, trim spline. Just check out all of the Rocket Lasso assets that are included with Cinema 4D. Rocket Lasso, Chris Schmidt and his team have done a great amount of work and have made some amazing assets. Make sure you go here to your Cinema 4D and you type, I think if you type Rocket, it's going to be fine. So go here, type Rocket. And we need not media, but or, and you will find in the Rocket Lasso a lot of the stuff, Fui rings and stuff here and so forth. So anyway, just go and check them out. It's an amazing bunch of tools. Okay, where are we now? Noseman. Let's see what this says. Hey, Igor Kiryakov. Using a switch group with a condition field. Okay, it toggles one way but won't switch back. How can I make it? So you want when? All right, let's see if we can address this, and I want to see if I understood. As far as I understand, what Igor is asking is the following: we have a particle, and we're emitting that particle group, right? So these, I'm just going to make them look bigger. Under a certain condition, so I'm going to go with a condition and the age. When the age is greater than 30 frames, 15 frames, I want this to switch groups. So I'm going to switch a group over here and create a group. This is, so this is particle group 1 and this particle group 2. Okay. So you want this to switch and become red. So now when they become 15 frames old, they become red. Now, I think the question is, how do we make it do now the opposite when they enter this and after a few frames? Well, the number one thing is we need to switch their age before they go to the other group, because then we're going to count the age again. So if you go to this condition and I'm going to set the age to 0. So what this is going to do is the moment a particle, its age is above 15 frames, which is half a second because of the FPS, it will first get its age set to 0, like reborn. Then it's going to switch. So if I do this here and switch back to this one, this should create sort of a flip-flop. Green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red. So yeah. Now there are, to see this better, I'm going to shoot 100 particles and without continue, so their ages are absolute. Boom, 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 boom. There you go. Okay, and that should do it for you. Okay. Did this answer your question, Igor? Okay. Yeah. Tough luck. What's the best? There is no best way. Simulating. The best way is be very patient, and you have to work. Set things up slowly, and patience. Yeah, I don't think there's another other word. How you're going to deform it is a different story. Anyone that expects to get a car, wrap it with something, crash it, and it looking good, it's not going to work. You can make it for B roll, for little mini cars that are running in the background. So for example, let's go reset this and go here and get a car, little car, right? So we have a model and we have a beautiful car here. Let's bring it in, hot hatchback. There we go. So I'm just going to remove everything I don't need. I just get rid of all the layers that will remove any locks and anything like that. And I'm just going to remove the steering wheel and get the car model, and everything else is bye-bye. There you go. So here's my car. Now, if my car is in the background and it's crashing into a wall, then who cares? You can do it any method. You can do it automatically. You can do that. If you want to see a car crash, then you need to do a lot of work. You need to pre-deform things. You need to use, in my view, if you want to make it good, nothing automatic is going to work properly. You can get things to look a certain way. I mean, let's go and crash this. Let's see. Let's do a terrible looking crash. And again, I shouldn't be doing these things live, but I can't help myself. Yeah, I think it's some sort of mutation. Whenever I shouldn't do something, I just have to do it. Yeah. So let's make this a collider, immovable object. It's not gonna stay there. And let's get the whole car. And I'm just gonna, you know what I'm gonna do with the car? I'm gonna remove anything I don't need. The insides. This has got too much geometry. I don't care. Let me just, I'll just crash it. Let me just remove, turn off the subdivision surfaces and all that. There we go. Wheels and whatnot. Okay. Car model. Put it under connect object just to make sure everything's fine. It's going to take a while. Everything disappears because we have the instances. So let's go here, and I shouldn't have done this. So double click on the instance, make sure that it's instance and not render instance, so we can get everything. Because if you connect render instance and a multi-instance, not geometry and blah, blah, blah. So now we have a full car, and this car, this is the car. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go here. Let's add a rigid body and leave it as it is. Let's go move it back a bit. Good. Oh, it's heavy. The car is heavy. And let's give it some initial velocity. And the custom initial velocity, it should be in the direction of minus z. So minus z. Let's give it like 10,000 centimeters per second. And let's crash it. That's cool. It goes. Good. Now, maybe it shouldn't be a RBD. Maybe it should be a soft body. Oh, we are right. Let's find the soft body. What do we need to do here? So we have the soft body, and we need for the surface. Let me think. Plastic deformation, bend deform, stretch deform, poles deform, deform past 50, strength 100%, 100%, 100%, hardening 1. Let's see what this is going to do. I don't even know. I don't even know if I'm going to crash Cinema 4D because I made this into a cloth. That was such a bad idea. I love bad. Oh, it is going to move. Come on. Yeah, I don't have initial velocity. I forgot. I don't have initial velocity. Okay, so now we go into the, yeah, we don't have initial velocity. What am I thinking? I wasn't thinking. That's the answer. So let's go back to the simulation, rigid body. Yeah, this now poses a problem. It's a rigid body, which means we cannot deform it immediately. So we have to do things with various colliders and stuff like that. And this is exactly why one of these things makes it harder than it should be. So what I would say is for these kind of things, it's better if you go and create some deformations on your object and you do a bit of animation. You will never get this to look like a crashed object. You're going to see windows bending instead of cracking and all that. Want to do a proper destruction? When a car crashes, it doesn't break like a stone, so you can't use Voronoi fracture and stuff like that. And doing it manually, in my view, is the way to do it. Sorry, I didn't have better news, and I went through all this, but that is the truth. Okay. Ba-dum-bum-bum. I don't know if I've replied to this. So I would like to have my texture with scale in real world. So here's my question. Where a texture does not have scale. Like this, if you get a Photoshop image, what kind of scale? If you have a JPEG, does not have uh, it does not have unit precision. It doesn't say 100 pixels per centimeter or 300. It has the general resolution. An image is, 2K by 2K. So how does anything know what the size is? The closest we get to the side is when we're using the new UDIM stuff, where you tell it how many pixels per centimeter of 3D object. But if you can explain, Xavier, um, where will the scale come from in terms of your image? I may be able to help you. The one thing, the thing I did once, I don't remember for whom it was, is let's assume that we have a wall that is 2 meters by 2 meters by 2 meters, all right? So let me remove the car and everything else. So this is 2 meters by 2 meters by 2 meters. I want to add a brick. And the brick is, let's say, bricks usually are 20 centimeters by 5 by 10. Okay. So let's go here and find something that says brick. Yeah, okay. Oh, there you go. Old heavy brick. Let's get this, bring it here, and let's drag it on my cube. Now we want to find out if this is the right size. Okay. So all I need to do, if my bricks are actually 20 centimeters, I need to make a 20 centimeter cube, and it should align with my brick. So yeah, there you go, 20 centimeters. So this is what I want to understand. What would be the way by which let's say your bricks were 30 centimeters. Why would Cinema 4D know that? All right. So maybe there is something about this that makes sense, but I don't know what you're feeding, what information you're feeding it. So let me know about that, and maybe I can come with something. Okay. You're very welcome, Pedro. I was tempted to post Zen's comment. It's funny, by the way. It's funny. Okay. Let's see. Oh, let's go to some of the questions. What time is it? Holy, it's been an hour, and the weather has cleared. It's not even raining. Wow, that was an interesting one. Okay, let me go and find some of the other questions. The lava, we did this condensation. So there was a question about condensation and liquids. Right now, I want to address a slight fallacy of sorts, and I'm going to bring up a file which is called condensation, don't do this at home because it's not going to work. So my idea was, let's get a hemisphere. Oh, come on. Let's get a hemisphere. Let's emit some fluid. Let's go and tell the fluid to be very sticky. So here, so anything that has to do with liquid and rigid, simulation objects is in the collisions. So friction and stickiness. Anything that has to do for the interaction between liquids is in the constraints. None of these affect other simulation objects, and none of these affect particle objects or liquid objects. So I have a lot of friction and a lot of stickiness. And yeah, I'm going to do this, and it goes like this, and it doesn't look good, right? It just runs on the surface, and you won't really be able to do that. Now, it looks funny. You can make some sort of amoeba thing that's doing something, but it will never look the way you expect it to. Now, maybe you can make the particle when it's younger to have to stick less, when it's older to stick, I don't know, something like that. This kind of thing is not what liquids is about. And you may get to a certain solution. It won't really work the way you expect it to. The main reason being that currently our liquids do not support surface tension between liquid particles and objects. The surface tension you see here, surface tension, is between particles. So we will never get the particles to organically stick to the surface just like water does. And surface tension is that thing that keeps the drop from just going downwards. And now we're using stickiness, but that would be the way. So what I is the thing is to fake it. Now I've done a terrible job here showing how to fake it, but I'm going to show you one method. I have a basic emitter, so I can turn off the secondary one. So let's turn this. Let me rewind, press play. There you go. So I have one emitter, one particle emitting here, just because, just because. And it's just going downwards. You can make it follow a surface. You can make it follow a surface using the surface, follow surface and so forth. But I didn't want to demonstrate that. You can add some randomization in its movement by making it, following a surface, but at the same time getting some noise and stuff like that to move around. And then what I did was I generated a bunch of other droplets, so to speak, particles on here. And I just put everything. I traced that one particle. So you will see this is being traced, right? That is being traced, and it's a limited trace. Put them under a volume builder, the whole bunch of it. And as far as the particle that's going down, I've got in the tracer, I've set a certain radius and a density of 1, so it's continuous. If you make this 0.2, it becomes a little circles. And I changed the thickness along. And I added on top the static drops, and they have a thickness of 5 or whatever. You can make that. So I have this configuration here, and basically because it's touching upon some of these particles, it creates that that effect that it's blending with the others. And what you can do here is use some sort of setup in the using the particle nodes modifier. When this particle comes in contact with another particle, when it comes into close proximity, this dies and this one becomes thicker. And when the thickness is beyond a certain thing, it can split and so forth. But you have to do something like that. Using fluids to do that, you may get to a certain point, but it will never look the way you want it to. You have, for these very mysterious effects, if you look at condensation coming down a glass and all that, there are quantum forces and all those interactions with liquids and the surface of the object, and if it's clean or if it's dusty, if it's a paper cup, if it's aluminum, if it's or aluminium, or glass, or what the temperature is, if it's cold, if it's got a bit of haze, that make a huge difference. You will never get those things dialed in. This is a manual process, and you work on it until it looks satisfying. That's what you need to do. Okay, let's see. Let's see here. I'm going to go to a few more questions. I'm going to keep this going for a few more minutes because I'm still okay. Let's see, condensation. Aha. Yep, we have decals and stuff like that. Okay. Let me close a few of these. All right, we're going to get to this. So let's get to this. Now, one of the questions I had to do with getting an object and projecting something using a flat projection, and then sticking it so that if I deform this here, that the texture is going to get stuck. The unfortunate thing is that while you can expect, so let's create a material. Again, the easiest way here is go and get a texture. So I'm going to go to media, and I'm going to get just media and go to the textures. I'm going to see that nice 16. There you go. If you drag this in here, it will prepare a texture for you, and it's going to add it to the base color. Now I'm going to drag this on this over here, and I'm going to set my material to be projected as a flat projection. Excellent. And then you can't see it here for reasons I don't understand. And what I'm going to do is select this, go to this little tool here, and it will give you the projection. Let's press T for scale, and let's scale it down. Good. And let's say I just want one of these, so don't tile it. There you go. So here it is. And I'm going to create a second material just to put it underneath so we can see the rest of the cube. Hurrah! Now, the problem with deforming this is that the object deforms, but the projection stays the same. And yeah, this is interesting. Number one, you may use your projection to sort of place it somewhere, but the best way is to use UVW to do that. Someone may say that, why don't you go to your material and do a pin material and record it? Unfortunately, it doesn't work. It appears to work in the viewport if you do that, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So, yep, you can forget about that. So UVs are essential for this to work. And the way it should, you should do it, first of all, have something that can have UVs, or you use UV projection, or you play around with the UVs. You can do that only on an editable object. So let me get rid of the caps. I don't want the caps. Make this editable. And the easy way is to select this, which is a flat projection, and go here to the tags and generate UVW coordinates. And it will create a set of no, that's the bend deformer. It will create a UVW coordinates using that particular projection. And it's this one over here. So now if you bend this, it bends. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, basically that's it. But you may need to go into your UVWs and fix certain things. So if you have wraparounds, because now you'll see it on the back as well. All right. So there are certain things you do need to do, but doing it with UVs is the correct way to do it. So unfortunately, I don't know, maybe they add something to make it easier to work with, but the generate UVW coordinates is the way to take a projection and project it as a UVW. If someone knows of a better way, let me know. Yep. Okay. Let's turn this off and move to the other question. Oh, I love this one. All right. So this question, which I think everyone will appreciate it. Okay. Let's see. Do we have a name? No. And we're not allowed to contact the individual. But it's actually a very interesting thing. So we've seen various companies create material presets where the data we want. All right, let's start with this. If I double click and create a material, a Redshift material, if you click here, you get a certain interface. Base, this, that, and so forth. The question is, how do we go about creating our own custom custom material? So you can go and you can get a lot of these here. So you can do that. Well, if you double click, you do that. And you can see that here we have a color and so forth. Now, you can dive into this and find out, you know, how they did this, what the trick is, and so forth. So let me show you a few tips about these things that may interest you. So first of all, we have this material here, and I'm making my own custom material. And what my custom material is going to be is a color, and it's going to be a gradient and a color. And I want, when I select this material here, I want to see just those. So trick number one, let's make a ramp. So here's a ramp. I'm going to put it in the color, right? So far, so good. If I select any node and go here where it says node and say start node, what this is going to do, and it's green now, when I select the material, whoops, why doesn't it, there you go. So we have the other parameters over here, which are parts of the, we have a ramp. There you go. The input is part of the ramp. The ramp, look at the interface of the ramp, becomes the interface of your material. There you go. So with the input and the ramp. So already we have, by setting this to be the start node, right? Now, what if I want something different? I don't want it to be a ramp. Well, in that case, what you do is you create a group. So you create an empty group. And we're going to use this as the start node. So let's go here and set this as start node. I don't even know. Yeah. So there's nothing here now because it's just a start node. It's got the basic elements of the material. And I want to propagate the color. So let's move the color here. I want to propagate the roughness. Come on, roughness. Yeah, add new output, roughness. And that's it. So I want the color and the roughness of the reflection roughness. And I want the color to be forced into a gradient. So I'm going to get the, let's create a ramp here. Ramp. Here's my ramp. And what I can do is I don't want everything else to be propagated. I don't want the whole thing to become my start node. I just want the gradient. This little part here where it says ramp. So you right click and you go and in the input, you find that ramp. And you expose it, add new. So this now, this group, if you go up, this group has this interface. And if I make it the start group, it's going to become what I want it to. Let me go and expose. I'm going to get my color, put it in the roughness, in the color. Sorry, I'm going to get my ramp out color and put it in the color of that material. Bring the roughness, the roughness here. There we go. And now my material, I go up. This is the actual starting node. So start node. Let's do this start node. And in theory, this should go to the inputs, will give me the roughness and the gradient. So now I've created a material type, which I can save as an asset, that is called I don't know what, and the inputs is a gradient with all the associated elements and the roughness. Okay, so make a group, pipe through any parameters you want. You can just pipe them through just to get them on the other side. Okay. Let's go. Hope this helps to the unknown individual that asked it. But thank you for your questions anyway. So let's say Yeah, there's a question about, is it possible to generate an initial state when using liquid fill emitter? We cannot do that, and we can't do that with particles yet. There are some workarounds you can use without this being a scientific or a proper way to do it. One of the things you may be able to do to a certain extent is the following. Let's assume that I have, let's go to my particles. Let's assume that I have, a basic emitter, and I press play and I say, something, whoops, stop. That's it. This is the state I want to start from. You'll make your particle group, right click, current state to object. And what you should be able to do, because now this is a point object, you should be able to use this with a mesh emitter to emit from the points. And you can use some of the properties from this, from the vertex. So the velocity should be the speed map from the appropriate velocity. So angular velocity, alignment, velocity. So here's my velocity. It's the one before the end. It should, the speed map. No, that's a speed map. I want the actual velocity. Oh, why? That I don't like that, because this is a speed map and a direction map. I want the, okay. I was unaware of this, because the velocity contains both the speed and the direction. But here we have them as two individual ones. That is something I need to talk to people about. I can do it using the nodes, particle nodes modifier. So this would be the way about doing this. So you would, have those particles. Let's forget about the speed map for now, and you just, let's find the direction. So this is the alignment. Yeah, angular velocity and alignment. We don't need those for now. You can use the radius and the age and so forth. And maybe I tell this to just emit a shot with the same number of particles. And basically, there you go. So these are, I can turn these off. Now that's my initial state. And again, you do need to do some gerrymandering with the data to assume the original, velocities and all that. So yeah, we don't have an automatic way. I don't know what the plan is, but this would be the workaround you would use to do something like that. Okay, what time is it? It's 10 minutes. So I'm going to go and hit any of the questions I can. Let me quickly. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what questions we have here. Amount of twist and deformer. So this is a general question. It's possible to use a field to control the amount of twist of a deformer along the vertical direction. We can use fields with deformers. This particular thing, that's interesting. Off the top of my head, I do not know, but we shall soon find out. So do this and do this. Let's put a twist, put it here, and let's twist. Right. So this is twisting, you can see, and let's go here and add a vertical twist and vertical. So that's plus Z. Yes, but it's doing something. Yeah, it's doing a linear interpolation of that. So this is not doing the value of it. Interesting. You want to change the value per height. Nope, you can't do it with the twist deformer itself. This needs something else to do it. That's an interesting one. Maybe that's something for scene nodes. Okay, a couple more. Let's see. Let's see if I can put between two good in a field. Let's see. Looking at questions. A hair object follow a spline. Do you want to control spline hair using splines? There is a way to do that. We don't have time for this. If you could go on the online form or hit me up on on Twitter. I can look into that. Yeah, I think Dean Millis. Oh, I guess I missed everything. Thank goodness for replays. Yes. So I'm gonna cut it only 20 minutes over time. And I want to go and do a quick housekeeping thing. And let me bring this up very, very quickly. Please to go to this page and find out what's going on and get all the other fantastic links. Please go here. I'm going to paste the link in the chat. And there we go. It will go to this page, which will show you the events. And these are all the events that are happening. Look at this cute little fella. And all the other cool stuff that's going on. And what else? It will take you to the Training Team YouTube channel. You can ask your questions here. We try, and as you can see, this is an hourly show, and it always goes 20 minutes, 30 minutes, beyond that. So ask your questions, and please forgive us if we can't get to them. If something is not working the way you expect it to, please contact customer support for questions about, general stuff like today, techniques and stuff. We can do that. Don't forget to watch the replays on the Maxon Training Team YouTube channel. Although we are streaming on both the Maxon and the Maxon Training Team YouTube channel. And don't forget to go and watch the quick tips. I posted one today. Which one was it? I don't remember. Okay. Oh yeah, controlling a complex animation using a time track. That was today's. Go to the Maxon Training Team, the Maxon YouTube channel, and watch all these amazing shows. And we have a lot of artists and good friends of mine that do great presentations. Please go and learn ZBrush. It will expand your professional abilities, and it will satisfy your creative needs. Now available on an iPad as well. And of course, go to Cineversity to watch all these fantastic tutorials. And it always brings up the ones I did. That's great. In any case, so I want to thank everyone again for hanging out with me and asking your questions. I do apologize we can't get to all of them. We are trying to find ways to reach more of you with more with higher quality content. I know that the information we provide is helpful to many people, but we need to find a way to make it easier for you to access. And we have some plans in play. And please ask your questions. My very, very good friend and colleague, Darren Frankovitz, he's responsible for a lot of the great stuff that's going on inside the training team. And yep, we are happy we can help. Yep. And yes, thank you again, everyone, for joining me and keeping me good company with fantastic questions, and especially the ones that challenge me. I prefer a good challenge to a boring conversation we can all agree with. And hope to see you in a couple of weeks. And yeah, take care, everyone. And now, as usual, I need to turn around here and try and find what button I need to play to get all these closing loops and so forth. There we go. Got it. Toodaloo.